We've been compelled to do something that's very dangerous to do in these last days, and that's tell the truth.
Am I therefore become your enemy because I tell you the truth?
When the people fear the government, there is tyranny. When the government fears the people, there is liberty.
So afraid of you.
As this 1952 CIA memo says, the aim is controlling an individual to the point where he will do our bidding against his will, and even against such fundamental laws of nature as self-preservation.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. A dollar buys a nickel's worth.
Left a legacy of the darker side of American intelligence work. George White worked with the Truth Drug Committee here at St. Elizabeth's Hospital in the nation's capital. They experimented with mescaline, scopolamine on unwitting victims.
Still pay insufficient attention to the frightening scenario of a comprehensive cyber attack.
We find ourselves.
We fall.
We know the air is unfit to breathe. Our food is unfit to eat.
Be not deceived.
The thought police.
Evil communication. Corrupt.
I've been fighting the voices in my head, in my head. I've been fighting the voices in my head. I'm in danger.
Sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy.
This is the story of a 30-year search by U.S. intelligence agencies to perfect mind control.
Fox San Antonio's Jessica Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our Treasure Valley communities,
The El Paso, Las Cruces communities, Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But
we are concerned about trouble and trending irresponsible, one-sided news stories plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and false news
has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 Deceiving and being deceived.
A Soviet military publication claims the virus that causes AIDS leaked from a U.S. Army laboratory conducting experiments in biological warfare.
From the life we knew, we live, we love, we fall.
And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled. For all these things must come to pass, for the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines and pestilences, and earthquakes in divers places.
So afraid of you.
Deceiving and being deceived.
I've been fighting the voices
deceiving the masses.
I've been fighting the voices in my head.
I'm in danger.
Mandatory vaccinations. The eyes of darkness. FEMA camps.
Problem, reaction, solution. The Hegelian dialect.
2020, the year that has really changed the world. It is thanks to technology that we are able to join the cyber polygon entirely remotely.
This training is another step in creating a trusted digital environment and fostering open dialogue to discuss even the most challenging cybersecurity issues.
Nobody can fight these phenomena, which are only going to increase in the next couple of years in this dynamic technological environment.
As this world grows in force, and this happens throughout the world, it's just a statement of the obvious. You need to protect people properly.
Corona has slightly, I'm afraid, eclipsed the importance of this conversation. No one's saying Corona isn't incredibly devastating, but actually we do need to think long-term about the planet.
Yeah, I mean, it's a distraction, well, more than a distraction, it's a tragedy, but it does have that knock-on effect.
Well, I always say the BIS is the most important bank in the world that you've almost certainly never heard of.
The Bank for International Settlements, the BIS, possibly the most powerful bank that most people haven't heard of, known as the central bank for central banks.
The bank was set up in 1930 to manage German reparations payments for the First World War. But those ended by 1932, which meant that the BIS really could have been closed down. The bank was founded by an international treaty, and its assets are legally inviolable. It has a similar privilege to the IMF or the World Bank or an embassy. It's almost extraterritorial.
Remember when these were fast? And these? Technology has improved the world around us. So why is it simple to send one of these anywhere in an instant, but not money?
Bartering to shells, to gold, to money.
What if we made money truly global, stable, and secure? What if everyone was invited to the global economy with access to the same financial opportunities? Designed for the digital world, backed by the belief that money should be fast for Ope in Lagos, simple for Saul's family business in Manila, and secure for Betsabe when sending money home to Mexico City. It's powered by blockchain, making it safe and accessible, no matter who you are or where you're from. So join us as we move towards a world where money works for everyone.
Today's date is the 7th of July 2021. And what else is it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a distraction, well, more than a distraction, it's a tragedy.
Oh, so it's more than a distraction, is it? I'm not an expert in body language, but I'm pretty sure that I can identify smugness when I see it. We're going to define distraction as an excuse or excuses. Specifically, these 17 Sustainable Development Excuses. These excuses underpin the entire global agenda.
This is a plan that was agreed to by 179 nations. It's called the Agenda for the 21st Century. It's a totalitarian state being developed right now all over the world. It is the inventory and control plan. Inventory and control of all land, all water, all minerals, all plants, all animals, all construction, all means of production, all food, all energy, all information, and all human beings in the world. And this is a plan that was agreed to by 179 nations back in 1992. It's a United Nations plan. It's called the Agenda for the 21st Century. And so many of us around the world think that, well, sustainable development, it just sounds so great. Isn't it about recycling and creative reuse and creating energy and food resources for everyone? And the answer is no, it really is not. It's about moving populations into city centers, concentrated city centers, and clearing them out of the rural areas. All systems have to be brought into harmony in order to control them all. Because when systems don't meet, when they're out of balance or not in sync with one another, they can't be controlled centrally. And the goal of Agenda 21 is one world government and total control from a central unit. Every nation that signed on to Agenda 21 has its local Agenda 21 plan. People in the United States are completely unaware of this. If I go out and talk about this, the United States press attacks me and calls me, which is totally ridiculous. It is a, but it's not a theory. It's a fact. The three pillars of United Nations Agenda 21 are economy, ecology, and equity, the 3 E's. And everyone sort of thinks that they know what that means, the idea of social equity. It must mean that, well, everyone's going to have access to clean water and clean air, and no one's property is going to be used as a dumping ground because they are at a poverty level. But really what social equity is about impoverishing huge portions of the population and bringing down the developed nations. Everything that we're looking at now is destined to collapse our economies. It's a totalitarian state being developed right now all over the world. And what major corporations want in this development is to be able to have full movement of workers without borders or boundaries, to be able to move their goods through without regulations, and to reduce wages. And so this is the goal. So this is what you find with social equity. And of course, economy and ecology is about, these are the 3 circles: economy, ecology, and social equity. And where they meet in the center is balance. But really that balance is a communitarian balance. So it's not balance of well-being of the people. What it is it's a balance for corporations so that they can exploit and control and have populations in an area, in tightly packed, dense areas, so that they can be surveilled and managed. And this is what that balance looks like as far as the development of a totalitarian state is. The mainstream media is owned by 5 major corporations, and you're not going to get this information from the mainstream press. So you need to be your own press. You need to educate yourself. You need to get out there and educate your neighbors, your community, your real community. You need to help your children understand that they're being indoctrinated from pre-kindergarten to postgraduate school. All of us have a responsibility to ourselves and to others. This is true community, to work for personal freedom. And always remember that even though we work as a group, if we do work as a group, we're all individuals in those groups, and we answer only to ourselves. And this is essential. It's essential as free human beings. This is what we are. We are free, and we need to continue to be free. And I do believe that we will win, but we have to become aware that there is a fight, and then make our friends and our neighbors and our community aware as well, and work together.